How do I define data associations?
Data associations can be made in new or existing Qlik Sense business apps. We created the Data Associations app for this example. Learn more about creating apps in other how-to videos. Upon launching, we can see the app overview provides two options for loading data into an app. The script editor option should only be used by experienced data architects that understand the data load script. We will use the other option, which will provide us access to all the data manager's capabilities. Let's add the Ajax Company Data Excel file with a simple drag and drop. We will click the magic wand to close the dialog and return to it later in this video. The resulting view presents each table as a bubble, where the size of the bubble is proportional to the number of records or rows in that table. If some of the bubbles go off screen, click the Home button in the tools on the right. Clicking on a bubble, like employees, will show that table in a preview panel underneath. Since Qlik Sense organizes tables based upon a relational model, we will need to define the associations between tables. If we click and hold on a bubble, we can see colored circles in other bubbles. For example, the Offices bubble has a triple green partial circle outline, whereas territories and customers have partial double orange outlines, and the Suppliers bubble has no outline. The triple green outline tells us an association between the Employees and Offices tables is highly likely. However, since the circle is not complete, it is not a 100% match. The bubbles with the double orange outline have a moderate likeliness of associations, and no outline is an unlikely association. We can examine the likelihood of associations further using the table fields below. For example, if the Employee bubble is selected, note the Employees.Offices field. Now click on the Offices bubble and see this table also has a field for Offices. The Employees and Offices tables appear to have a common field, so let's manually associate these two tables by clicking on the Employees bubble and dragging it onto the Offices bubble. Notice the arm connecting the two bubbles, and if we look below, see both of the associated tables side by side with the key fields that form the association between tables noted by the highlighted columns. Let's click on the Territories bubble and drag it over to the Customers bubble. Notice the red outline on the Customers bubble. Qlik Sense profiles the data to determine matching data, and since these two tables do not have a common field name and the values do not match, it returns the highly unlikely single red circle. In addition to dragging bubbles to make manual table associations, links may also be formed automatically, according to recommendations. Click the magic wand icon to open the dialog. Here we can make single associations by clicking the Apply button next to each association listed, or click Apply All at the top to make all recommended associations. If we click the arms for the Customers bubble and the Employees bubble, notice the Employee and Customer ID button above the table shows a partial orange outline. We can click this to open a dialog with a box showing the selected associations and a double orange line, which we already know is moderately unlikely. This requires further examination. Let's click the Minimize arrow and look at the highlighted table columns of Employees.Employee ID and Customer ID. Qlik Sense associates similar data types, and since the type of data for each of these fields are numerical, Qlik Sense sees this association as a moderate possibility. Since this data is not an actual association, we need to unlink the Customers and Employees tables. Let's click the Customers bubble and drag it across the linked bubbles. Notice the connection goes away and the bubble will float free of the other associations. Let's say after going through the tables from this spreadsheet, we decide to upload more data. We can do that by clicking the plus sign on the left. Make sure New is selected in the options on the left to see a drop area where we will drag the file Ajax Sales Data. Let's check all the boxes to add all tables from this spreadsheet and click the Next button. Notice the bubbles for the tables from the initial spreadsheet with the associations that we have already made, and bubbles for the new tables that we just added. To quickly associate both data sets, we will click the Apply All button. The next steps would be to validate these automatic associations against our knowledge of the data, review each one of them, and verify that they should be associated. Then click Load Data. After the associated data has finished loading, we have options to go to Sheet and begin creating visualizations. Go to Insights to let Qlik Sense recommend visualizations, or close and remain in the Data Manager. Let's click Close and look at how our associations show in the tenant. We can navigate to the tenant space where the app is located by clicking the logo at the top. If we scroll through the documents in the space, we can see our app, the data we loaded, and some QVD geoanalytics data files. These were generated by Qlik Sense Business after we selected Load Data. The data that was uploaded and the QVD files that were generated are available to use in other apps, as long as that user has the necessary access to the tenant and space that the app is associated with. Visit the Qlik Continuous Classroom to explore additional Qlik Sense capabilities and begin your journey down a learning path for a higher level of mastery. A good follow-up to this how-to is the learning module titled Data Load Basics.